Hello and welcome to the Beekeeper. I'm sorry for the dodgy camera work and everything. It's just I've been a little preoccupied, what with the zombie apocalypse and all. It's been 3 days now. 3 days without basic needs. No food, no water, no Facebook. God, if only there was some sort of guidebook I could consult in this kind of situation. Some sort of template for coping with an infestation of the dead. Curse my wild imagination. No such book could ever have been... George A Romero's 1968 horror film, Night of the Living Dead, is the quintessential modern zombie movie and spawned 5 sequels. In order: Dawn, Day, Land, Diary, and Survival of the Dead. Of course there had been zombie movies made prior to this effort, Val Lewton and Jacques Tourneur's I Walked with a Zombie and the Halperin brothers' White Zombie being prime examples, but Romero's first foray into the genre set the template for practically everything to follow. The plot of the film follows a disparate group of Americans who take refuge in a farmhouse as the dead begin to rise from their graves with a taste for living flesh. It's as simple as that. Some of the humans want to escape, some of them want to stay put, and as more and more zombies gather outside, it's only a matter of time before tensions reach a boiling point and trouble brews. This film is where the zombie rulebook was written. Zombies are the reanimated dead, and you don't have to be bitten by one to join their ranks, you simply have to die. This guarantees that the living are always going to end up being outnumbered, and that's what makes these movie monsters so intimidating. It certainly isn't their speed. Romero and co. also worked out that the reanimated dead would move awkwardly, struggling against rigor mortis. Our cast of breathers are variations on pretty much all of the archetypes we now expect of our horror films. You have the hysterical blonde.
My brother is alone!
Your brother is dead.
No! My brother is not dead!
A loner hero.
I looked back at the diner to see if there was anyone there who could help me. It was when I noticed that the entire place had been encircled.
Love-struck teenagers.
Hey, Smiley, where's that big smile for me?
A concerned parent.
Baby, it's Mommy.
A creepy child.
I hurt.
And of course, the dick.
You bastards!
If you get yourself stuck in one of these situations, you're going to have to think fast to decide which one you are. The biggest problem to avoid is becoming a dick. The complicating factor being that, while there can be one overriding dick within a group, everyone else also has the capacity to be dickish. Collapse into a bundle of nerves instead of contributing to the task in hand, you're being a dick. Get all sentimental when you're confronted by a beloved ex-relative when the only thing they have in mind is a one-course meal, you're being a dick. As a dick, your own take on events might be perfectly valid. In Night of the Living Dead, Harry's ideas about how to handle things are pretty spot on.
We can take all that stuff downstairs with us. Man, you're really crazy, you know that? You got 1,000,000 windows up here. All these windows, you're gonna make them strong enough to keep these things out, huh?
But nobody's going to listen to you if you act like a knob. My best advice would be to go with the loner hero, pretty much the only one who ever keeps calm and talks sense. It's no sure deal, as Night of the Living Dead shows, but providing your fate doesn't rely upon the competence of others, you're probably statistically better off. As a side note, I'd like to address the race of the film's de facto hero, Ben. A lot has been made of the fact that Night of the Living Dead features an African-American hero, and there has been much debate as to whether actor Dwayne Jones was specifically chosen for the colour of his skin. But does it really matter? Regardless of the reasons behind his casting, Jones's role in the film was hugely significant. lest we forget that 1968 was the year in which Martin Luther King was assassinated. The fact that Night of the Living Dead was made for very little money by a brigade of first-time filmmakers is what makes the film so interesting. Romero and his company earned their living by producing television commercials, and he first got into film doing odd jobs for television news. It's the impact of this career path which lends the film its own foreboding, almost documentary-like atmosphere. From the first scene there is a palpable sense of something lurking just beyond the frame, and the documentary style serves to heighten the fear and encourages us to invest in a reality that more polished films rarely achieve. It also helps to have mock television and radio reports featuring real-life reporters like Bill Chilly Billy Cardile. These open up the world of an otherwise claustrophobic film and again make the horror seem more genuine. You also have to admire the fact that these wannabe filmmakers just went out there and did it. They thought they could make a better film than the Hollywood mainstream, so they got their actors, the script, and their funds together, and basically put their money where their mouth was. Today, any twat with a camera can go out, shoot their own movie, edit it on a computer, and make it look half decent. Just look at this show if you want an example of that. But back when Night of the Living Dead was filmed, this was a huge undertaking, and I think if you watch the film with this in mind, you get a whole new level of appreciation for it. I'd like to take the chance now to address an issue that could apply to many of the films featured on this series, but to this one in particular. I've met a lot of people who would call themselves fans of Romero's Dead series, but who point blank refuse to watch this, the father of them all. And why, you might ask? Because this film happened to be shot in black and white. To these people, I have only one thing to say. Get over it. Putting aside the fact that black and white cinematography lends this, and indeed many other classic films, an arrestingly haunting visual style, is your attention span really so short that pretty flashing colours are needed to keep you interested? There is of course always the colorized version, but come on, even I don't want to go there. If all of this isn't enough to persuade you to watch the film, at least take into account that, without learning from Night of the Living Dead's tales of survival, you'll be the first one with your back pinned to the wall by pale green hands when the undead revolution comes. In that sense, what have we learned? Well, basically, as long as you're not stupid, arrogant, judgmental, overly sentimental, or a bunch of other factors, you have a better chance of riding things out, which is good news for me. I mean, thank God I don't tick any of those boxes. It's not as if I spend my days sentimentally looking back on the past and then posting my egotistical, judgmental rantings for all to see. Until next time, I've been the beekeeper, and choke on them.
Okay, he's dead. Let's go get him. That's another one for the fire.